Fincas are a very important part of Colombian culture. These are the rural locations people come to chill out from the city. We're here at Via Kavlia. It's an hour-and-a-half drive or a 20-minute helicopter ride from the center of Medellin, and we're going to spend the day with a private chef, horseback riding, and experiencing everything that Antioquia outside of Medellin has to offer. Right now, we're going to get changed for an amazing afternoon. So we're waiting for Maria to get ready. There's a perception that people who come to Colombia who may not be fluent in Spanish yet, that's offensive. As a Colombian, what's your view on that for folks who may want to come here, but they're not so good at Spanish yet?
Not necessarily offensive. I think that if you come here and you do the effort, people really are going to appreciate that. But people here are going to understand you. They have a lot of foreigners, especially in Medellin. They are used to having a lot of foreigners. So I don't necessarily think that people are going to find us offensive as in other countries, for example. But here people do speak English and there's a lot of foreigners for that. So there's that.
You're from Bogota, Rola. Talk about the difference between the Rolas and the Paisas and the perceptions among Colombians.
Right. Between ourselves, Bogota people are the cold people. We actually called each other like if we were from the fridge. Bogota is very up in the hills and it's super cold and people here are warmer. So we have that different perspective that Bogota people are cold and people here are warmer.
They say everyone here wants to help you. People are really nice.
Yes.
You really want to be very polite here because people are extremely polite. I suppose the prejudice against people from Bogota is they're not as polite. Is that true?
Yes.
Is it kind of like New Yorkers in the United States? They're in a hurry and people think they're rude?
Think about it as New Yorkers versus Floridians. It's kind of...
All the New Yorkers are in Florida now, though.
Yes.
They've all gotten the hell out.
Yeah, but for example, if you go to Bogota, people are going to be more straight to the point, more cold with a conversation. More direct, exactly.
I do think that around the world, I like to spend time in big cities where people are more direct. That's my style. Do you think someone like me would have a harder time fitting in Medellin?
I think it's, if you get used to it, for example, if you're here for a couple of days, you kind of get used to the vibes, to the people being warm, and you yourself become warmer. If you go to Bogota, you're going to get used to people being a little more direct and a little bit more cold.
And what's crazy is because, people often judge within their own countries. So within Colombia, people from Bogota are cold. People from Bogota are still some of the warmest people you're going to find anywhere in the world. You go to order a coffee in Bogota.
Oh, absolutely.
It's still a lot of conversation compared to a lot of places.
Absolutely. Colombians overall are very warm people, but it's like levels depending on what city you go to.
Do you feel safe living in Colombia?
Yes. I am born and raised here. I've, gone to school here, have my circle of friends here. I go out, I travel, and then it's a matter of being careful. That's the only difference.
So there is a higher level of caution required, do you think, to live here than there might be in Singapore?
Absolutely. Terms of is, if you go out, be careful with your watch, be careful with your bag, be careful of, the things that you're wearing, how much you're showing, that kind of thing.
As a woman, though, do you feel safe? Women say, oh, well, it's nice for a man. We could all have our watch taken from us. But as a woman, do you feel safe from violence, for example?
Yeah, there's a difference, of course, being a woman in the night, for example, when you're alone, if you're walking somewhere. I try not to walk to places by myself. So, yes, there is a certain difference of being a woman versus a man in Colombia.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do we have coming up for Live Like a King? I know we're going to be in Bangkok. We're going to be in Bali.
Yes.
I like doing these places that people know about. Go back. So we did Live Like a King Oman, for example. I think a lot of people don't know about Oman. I find it intriguing and challenging to do these places that people know about and they have a certain preconceived notion. When we looked at Medellin content, it was all, guys coming to have fun. And for those of us who want something a bit more peaceful, a bit more business-like, there's not a lot out there. I think it's going to be interesting to see what you do with Bali and showing that in a different light as well.
Absolutely.
Not just good vibes.
Yeah. No, for example, Medellin, we do want to change that perspective that if you come to this place, it's not only party, it's not only certain things, but you also can live like a king here. And the same we're going to do with Bali, that is not just, for example, this really slow life, but you can actually live like a king there. And same as Bangkok, the best of the both.
I told Monica we need a Rolls Royce in Bali. And I see Rolls Royces around Indonesia.
Absolutely. I think we're going to have a great year next year with Live Like a King.
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward.
Hello again. I love the linen.
Thank you. Perfect for this weather.
I was asking my tailor, should I wear linen? He said, no. Linen's for Cartagena.
Well, I love using linen whenever I feel like the weather is warm.
But I was going to say, this is so much more warm and humid than Medellin.
Yeah, it is.
It's perfect for linen.
It is. That's why people love coming here, like to just chill and relax. It's different weather, different everything.
When you look at the history of Antioquia, the most well-known person for people watching this from overseas, Pablo Escobar, it's been 30 years. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people still think that's how Medellin runs.
And actually, there are a lot of tourists, a lot of places where tourists can go and see more about him. I don't agree with that at all.
You wanted to shut down?
Yeah, because it's not like a good memory to have. He did a lot of damage too, a lot of damage. So why remember a person like that, you know? Yeah. And people still remember his name. They are doing TV shows. That is not something I would like my town to get recognized. Why? Because there are a lot much things to get to know. For example, Medellin is a really artistic place. There are a lot of artists, well-known artists, that I think it's more valuable to show.
Yeah, like Botero, for example.
Botero, artists like singers, Karol G, J Balvin, Maluma, that is trendy singers, but they are doing like a great job positioning the city. Different, completely different that man.
Yeah. There's still this belief that there are some people in Medellin who look at him as the Paisa Robin Hood and they still like him. Is that true at all?
It's true because he did really bad stuff, but he also did a lot of good stuff from some people. Like, for example, some neighborhood peoples, he built their neighborhood, so they are really thankful for that. So you have the two contrasts, the people that was hurt by him and the people that was benefit by him, because he also did a job over there, like building so much communities. So that's why some people like him.
The country wasn't as wealthy back then. The government wouldn't do it, so he did it.
Exactly.
You would presume, because he wants the good PR.
Of course.
You as a PR person, you would think probably not a bad thing to do to build houses for people.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I think so many people remember him, because he did some good stuff, but if you see the bigger picture, it's not that good.
And unfortunately, I think that if you're a Colombian citizen these days and you travel to certain countries, you probably get more checks.
Yeah.
Because that person who works at the border, who in some countries is not legally allowed to travel, all they have is the news in their country to say, let me make sure this person's not doing something.
That's true. Like Colombian people, for example, Colombian girls to travel a lot alone is not that good, because you are being judged because of the country, because of the history. And that is not like a good experience to live.
And yet Colombian citizens can travel to a lot more places now than 10 years ago. Would you say you're treated pretty fairly when you show a Colombian passport?
In some places. Some places are more like, they have this misconcept and they don't, they think everyone is the same in Colombia. They think Colombia, drugs. Is so much more than that. Yeah. But we are fighting for a new image, you know? Gracias. This is called buñuelo. It's a really traditional here in December, actually. December is the month of the buñuelos. Let's try this.
Very nice. Gracias.
Gracias.
What is this?
This is fried plantain. It's really good. I like. This is my favorite.
Yeah. One of the messages that I share with people is that someone in Colombia, for example, is much less likely to leave and live overseas now than they would have been 20 years ago. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's completely true because the country has changed in so many good ways. It has developed slowly but strongly. I think there are really different options here in Colombia to live. And usually all the people that I have known that is not from here and they come here to visit, they end up staying here.
You think you can live in Medellin for 1/4 the price of New York, for example?
No, even more.
Even better.
Even better.
So you can live like a king
You can
for a
live.
much lower price.
Yes,
Or you can more easily live like a king.
yes.
Can I get a villa like this for $1 million or less?
Less, I think less.
What's the best neighborhood to live in Medellin? If you live not here, but in the city.
Inside the city, I think it's El Poblado. But
Poblado.
outside the city, for example, up in the mountains, I think it's Llano Grande. It's a really good place. It's where all the artists and famous people live. A lot of families too, because it's really quiet, peaceful place to be.
Do you think people here are pretty optimistic about the economy in the country?
Not in this moment, because of our president. He doesn't have like a lot of popularity.
Gracias.
The fresh salad
Gracias.
with chicken tenders and Colombian bread and queso costeño. Y tomate deshidratado.
This queso costeño is one of my favorite cheeses. It's so good. It's like a little salty. It's really traditional in the coast. It's one of my favorite cheese.
Let's try the cheese. Soft? Mm-hmm. That's nice. You were telling me that a number of Colombians aren't as optimistic about the current president.
Yeah, it has a lot of disagreements in a lot of stuff. He doesn't have a lot of popularity now that people see what he is doing. I think people is going to take conscience. This is the most traditional dish here in Medellin. It's bandeja paisa. It's usually a really big plate with a lot of different things, and people like to mix it up. You can have plantain, you can have beans, rice, sausage, meat. There are a lot of different stuff. If you
Avocado?
mix it, avocado, even egg, like
Yeah.
a fried egg over in the top, and you mix it all, and it's really good.
So mix it up. This is a dessert from the Pacific Coast.
Yeah.
We're going to experience the rustic charm of Antioquia. You can have a luxury lifestyle in the city, but you've also got this beautifully tranquil area outside the city. From private chefs to horseback riding, we're going to show you everything you can experience here. Hello. These horses like each other? If you had the right people at the villa, this would be, or the finca, this would be great. If you had your own team.